Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing two important things. The first thing, we're going to be buying potentially two new vehicles, and we're also going to be exploring the city of New York. Now, there is so much to do and so much to see. I actually went to New York in April for vacation for 5 days. We kind of had a look around Manhattan, we went to Harlem, we went to Brooklyn, we went all over the place. Saw an ice hockey game as well. But today, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to look at the vehicles. We're going to start looking at what sort of cars are available in this game. Now, there's 547 potential vehicles to buy. I currently have the Audi TT RS Coupe. I've got Aston Martin Vanquish, got a Mazda RX-7, I've also got a buggy, got a Mercedes X-Class, I've got an offshore Mark 1, I've also got an Edge 540 Zivco. Don't know what Zivco is, but that's what I've got. We're going to look at what we can add to that. The type of car I'm thinking of getting is more of a luxury car. I'm thinking something along the lines, potentially, of a Bentley. That sort of car. Nice, comfortable, potentially a BMW, maybe, depending, like an M5 or an M4, M2 if they've got one. I'm not sure. Oh, they do have an M2. $250,000 though. It's a lot of money. And then you got the beta handling edition. So you got the Bugatti Cadillac. Kind of. Ooh. What on earth is that? That's disgusting. I quite like these. This is like it's the type of car that you'd see kind of Conor McGregor rocking up to. What else we got? Chevys. We got any big Chevys? Chryslers. I think Chryslers do. Ooh. You can get the big Dodge, because there's like the Dodge Ram, which I don't think they have. You got the Bugattis. I quite like the sound of a Cadillac, especially driving around New York. It's the perfect car. Let's have a little bit more of a look around. You got like the Citroens. No, that looks quite cool. I think, guys, we are sold on the Cadillac Escalade. I do feel like a Kardashian when I'm driving around in it. It's got to be black. Got to be black. Right, the rims. Number 6 is number 5. I like number 5. What are we thinking? 6. Done. Acquire front fenders to beef up your car. Yes please. We're gonna make this car look like a beast. Oh, I don't like the carbon. What are we thinking? We're thinking that or that? Is that too much? I quite like the black. That looks like the president's car. I don't like the hood now. We're going to change it to that. There's loads to choose from. Number 65 is the front runner. That looks absolutely vile. I quite like the big grill though. Like that. Ooh. Like there's, I don't know which one to go for. That one. I'm just going to choose that. We're going to be here for ages. Fenders, is that? Yeah, let's go for that. Rims, no. I was happy with the rims. Ooh. Side mirrors, like why is that a thing? Look at the little cute ones. Nah, they need to be big and fucking bulky. Side skirts, gotta have them. The rear fenders, well, yeah, I want it blacked out windows leaning back. I don't need a spoiler on an SUV. I like what I've got at the moment. And the interior color, I like that. Oh my goodness, why are there so many different styles? That, oh my goodness, I could drive around with an FBI one. No way. Like, that's like blacked out. You think like Drake is about to come out, and then you got the Canine Police, FBI. But look at the lights. They're not even real lights. Okay, well, Saudi Arabia's arrived. Please. Yeah, that. So we've now got our brand new car. New York City. We are currently in Manhattan, which is probably the most famous part of New York. This is where the Twin Towers was. This is now called the Freedom Tower, which is this building, this tall building here, and that's just in the financial district. Obviously, Manhattan is actually a whole lot bigger than this, but then kind of going up towards Lower Manhattan and Midtown. So Lower Manhattan is just north of the financial district, just south Midtown. That's where you've got the Empire State Building, just here. The thing I love about this game as well, it's the 3D, the rendering of the game's amazing. And then you've got Madison Square Garden just here. This is where the ice hockey play there, but then you get big boxing matches as well. You get like Anthony Joshua, artists and singers have sung there. It's a massive, massive attraction in New York. Heading up a little bit further, you've got the famous Central Park. Again, Central Park in real life is a whole lot bigger. You've actually got a massive zoo in Central Park, which is around here. That's where the Madagascar film was set. And then you've got the Natural History Museum, where Ben Stiller made friends with all of his dinosaurs. So this is Manhattan, and then going just north of Central Park, you've got Harlem. Now Harlem is a lot more kind of community orientated. They're big into like the family community. Everybody is one. It's sometimes seen as a little bit more rough, a bit more rugged than kind of your financial district. Similar sort of lifestyle to the Bronx. It's been very difficult for people's lifestyles growing up around Harlem and the Bronx. We actually visited here, Harlem, when we came here. It's an amazing part of the city. Very, very different. As soon as you kind of get past this road here, which we ended up walking down, and then we went right down here and then walked all the way down here. Some amazing restaurants in the Upper East Side. You see there's 2 blocks here. It's actually about 18 blocks either side of Central Park. So just kind of put into perspective the size. Statue of Liberty, which was actually given to the Americans by the French. Don't ask me what year, because I've got no idea. So just to the west of New York, you've got New Jersey. Again, it is a lot smaller in this game than it is in real life. It's not as kind of industrial and commercial. It's a lot more kind of residential in this part of New York. And then you can get the ferry across into the city, and you can get the underground tube as well, the subway. And then on the other side of Manhattan, you got Brooklyn. You got the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm assuming this one's the Brooklyn Bridge. And you've also got Coney Island as well. So New York Airport is on the other side of Brooklyn. So that's JFK. Newark, I'm not too sure where Newark Airport is in comparison. I'm not sure if it's in this game. Now, the Bronx is where it's probably known as the more rough area of New York, and probably driving around in the car that I'm driving around in is going to be a little bit difficult. But we're going to start off having a look around the financial district and the new, what they call the Freedom Tower, which is that tower directly in front of me. And then you're going up more into south of Manhattan, and directly in front of us is the famous Empire State Building. And now the Empire State Building is probably one of the most famous standing buildings in New York. And at the bottom of the Empire State Building is actually a shopping centre. There's some office blocks. You can see why they call it Concrete Canyon. And now we're just heading over Central Park and Strawberry Fields, where John Lennon was unfortunately killed. I think it's the building directly in front of me with the two towers. And now we're heading up just to the north of Central Park, moving into the famous Harlem, where the Harlem Shake, I think it was based on this, I don't actually know, please correct me if I'm wrong. A lot more residential, you can tell by the types of buildings. It's a lot more kind of hip-hop sort of environment. Again, very kind of family and community based. Quite a low income in this area, a lot of apartment blocks. And now we're going to be heading over the Bronx. Now this is kind of seen and known in New York as more of the rough and dangerous part of New York. I don't know if that's actually true. So we're now flying over Queens. You've got Long Island, you've got the Long Island Speedway, which is a famous speedrome in New York. So there's a little over 8 million people who live in New York. So that's about 1 in 38 people call this city home. And there are 800 languages that people speak in New York, making it apparently it's the most linguistically diverse city in the world. So 4 in 10 households speak a different other language other than English, which is pretty impressive. Federal Reserve Bank has the largest gold storage in the world. The vault is 80 feet below street level and contains $90 billion in gold. I remember when we were in New York in April, we went on a walking tour around the financial district and kind of ended in Lower Manhattan. We were outside, we were kind of in the stock exchange. Tour guide explained that we were stood on top of where the vault was. I mean, obviously it's 80 feet underground. The New York skyline to our right, and now we're flying over Brooklyn. So apparently the borough of Brooklyn alone would be the 4th largest city in the US. So like the size of Brooklyn compared to other cities, just to put into perspective kind of the size, I know this game doesn't really, but New York was actually the first capital city in the US as well. That was in 1789, and then Washington took over sometime afterwards. But Times Square is also named after the New York Times. It was originally called the Long Acre Square until the Times company moved there in 1904. What we're going to do, we're going to head back into Manhattan, So a few more facts about New York. The city's original name was New Amsterdam. That was back in the 1600s. This car does really get some speed. So we're now heading into Manhattan. Now we're going to go the perimeter. Famous yellow cabs. But New York is obviously famous for its New York style pizzas. Now, the first pizzeria in the US opened in New York, and that was back in 1905, and that was on 32 Spring Street. If anybody's in New York, go check out Lombardi's Pizza. But we're going to start doing a couple of circles of the Freedom Tower. So this building to my left here is the Freedom Tower. Unfortunately, I can't get a good camera angle. Then we're going to be moving up towards Empire State Building, which is just up this road. Oh, I think it's a lot easier having the map a lot bigger so you guys can kind of get an understanding, a bit more of a perspective on whereabouts I am. And everybody knows the famous water fountain here. It's where they filmed the introduction to Friends. Down, 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 down. Moving on from my incredible singing, we're going to be heading up towards Central Park now. Now, Central Park is in the center of Manhattan. We're just going to carry on going straight. One of the biggest, most beautiful parks I've ever been in. Apparently, in New York, it is illegal to honk your horn. Now, on this website, it does say, we promise that these facts about New York are 100% true, but we understand that this one sounds made up. Because if you've ever sat in the back of a yellow cab in traffic in Manhattan, you know New Yorkers like to honk their horns. I can vouch for that. But unless it's in an emergency situation, drivers are not allowed to make excessive noise, and the NYPD, the New York Police Department, can issue fines of excessive noise of up to $350 for offenders. So this building just to my right is the Natural History Museum. This is where the Natural History Museum films were filmed. It's not quite to scale because there is a separate building to the left where I am currently. So now we're going to be heading over towards Harlem. New York is one of the top bird watching cities in the US. Apparently there are more pigeons, if you've seen Home Alone 2 with the pigeon lady, and experts have noted that there are 275 different species of pigeon in the 5 boroughs. Now the 5 boroughs, it's Manhattan, Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn and New Jersey. Now we're going to be locking our doors. Don't want to draw unnecessary attention to ourselves, even though I'm in a car that pops and bangs when you accelerate. Guy just tried to brake check. Oh, looks like I've been in a bit of a shootout. So another couple of facts about New York. So lightning strikes the Empire State Building 25 times a year. A lot of police around. There's a lot of police activity here. I don't know if that's a good thing. I guess it is, but again, why do you need so much police? Another police car on the right there, making sure everyone's all safe, happy. Another one up here on the right, heading up towards Queens. So New York Library, which is one of the most famous libraries in the world, let alone the United States, has, aside from the 50 million books, it also stores locks of hair from celebrities. So, however, did you know that there is a birth in New York every 4.5 minutes? Why would you stop just in front of me? Being topless is illegal. And New York City has the largest Jewish population outside of Israel. I love New York. New York, I think, is such a diverse city with all of the different lifestyles, different cultures, personalities, cuisine, arts. The construction and buildings are absolutely incredible. You've got people speaking 800 different languages. I didn't even know there were 800 different languages. In a city where there's 8 million people, we're going to head over to JFK. In this game, they call it New York Airport. I'm assuming because they didn't get the rights to call it JFK. 1.3 miles away. We're going to call it JFK because everyone knows it as JFK Airport, obviously named after the famous John F. Kennedy. Now I want to know, can you just drive into this airport? Is that a gap? Let's just see, can you? And that's how you get into JFK. Obviously, do not do this in real life. It won't go down well. Right, and I believe there is a plane waiting for us just at the end of this runway here to take us to Washington, D.C. Our next destination of exploring America. Plane's just arrived. Let's make our way over to Washington, D.C. One last little flyover of the skyline of New York. Concrete Canyon of the world. Heading over to the next city in our destination, which is Washington, D.C. So I'll see you there.